Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the amazing world of rare and valuable coins that could be hiding right in your pocket. If you love collecting coins, learning about history, or simply enjoy discovering treasures that most people overlook, then you're going to love today's video. How much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1929 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a classic early 20th century coin that carries both historical and collectible charm. The absence of a mint mark means this coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, the main facility of the United States Mint. Like all Lincoln wheat cents struck between 1909 and 1958, it features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and two stylized wheat ears on the reverse that symbolize strength and prosperity. The coin is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it the rich reddish-brown tone that collectors love. In 1929, the Philadelphia Mint struck more than 185 million of these pennies, a relatively high number for that period, meaning that circulated examples are fairly common today. However, finding a genuine extra-fine XF example with strong details and only light wear is much less common, especially after nearly a century of handling. The obverse shows Lincoln's face in profile, with the word Liberty to his left and the date 1929 on the right. The reverse bears the familiar inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, surrounded by the wheat ears and the motto E pluribus unum above. Your coin is described as being in extra-fine condition, which is a relatively high grade for a wheat penny of this age. In this condition, the coin shows light but even wear on the high points, such as Lincoln's cheekbone, jaw, and hair above his ear. Most finer details of his face and coat remain sharp. The reverse still shows strong lines in both wheat stalks, and the lettering is crisp and bold. Some small scratches are expected for a coin this old and typically do not harm its overall value unless they are deep or very noticeable. A well-preserved coin in extra-fine condition still retains excellent eye appeal and collectible desirability. As of today's coin market in 2025, a 1929 Lincoln wheat penny from Philadelphia in extra-fine condition generally sells for around $1 to $3 USD. Coins with pleasing natural brown or red-brown color and minimal marks can reach the higher end of that range, while examples with visible scratches or dull surfaces might be closer to $1. These prices reflect the average range found in reputable online sales, coin dealer inventories, and updated price guides used by collectors today. If your coin had slightly higher detail, such as about uncirculated quality, with traces of original mint luster, it could sell for around $4 to $6. Fully uncirculated coins with full red color can command $15 to $30 or more, depending on the strength of their strike and eye appeal. Certified mint state examples graded by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can sometimes sell for $75 to $150, and the highest graded red specimens have even surpassed $200 at auction. This shows how condition, color, and originality can have a major impact on value. Even for a common date like 1929, collectors appreciate the 1929 Lincoln wheat penny for its place in U.S. history. It was minted during the final year of the Roaring Twenties, just before the Great Depression began. For many hobbyists, it represents the end of an optimistic decade and the beginning of one of the most challenging economic periods in American history. Holding one of these coins connects you directly to that transformative era nearly a century ago. Next up, the 1971 Canadian 25-cent coin, a beautiful piece of Canadian history that still captures the attention of coin collectors all around the world. Even though most people see it as just an ordinary quarter, the truth is that certain examples, especially those in higher grades or with special minting features, can be worth much more than face value. Let's take a close look at what makes the 1971 Canada 25-cent coin special, what to look for in your own collection, and what its approximate value is in today's coin market when found in extra fine condition with a few scratches. The 1971 Canadian quarter features the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth, Tui on the obverse, designed by Arnold Machine. It shows the Queen facing right and wearing a tiara, with the Latin inscription Elizabeth II DG Regina around the edge. This portrait was used on Canadian coins from 1965 until 1989 and remains one of the most elegant designs ever to appear on Canadian coinage. The reverse of the coin features the iconic caribou, a proud symbol of Canada's wilderness and northern heritage. The caribou design has been a part of the Canadian quarter since 1937 and was created by Emmanuel Hahn. Above the caribou's antlers, you can see the word Canada, while the denomination 25 cents appears to the left, and the year 1971 is displayed at the bottom. The 1971 Canadian quarter was minted at the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. It was struck in pure nickel, not silver, since Canada had already transitioned away from silver coinage a few years earlier. The coin weighs about 5.07 grams and measures 23.88 millimeters in diameter. Because it was made entirely of nickel, it has a light gray metallic shine, which can sometimes show light toning or darker spots when exposed to the environment over time. In terms of mintage, the Royal Canadian Mint produced over 140 million of these coins in 1971, meaning that it is not a rare date in general circulation. However, condition plays a major role in determining its collector value. A coin in extra fine, XF condition will have sharp details on the Queen's portrait, with only light wear on the highest points of her hair and tiara. On the reverse, most of the caribou's antlers and fur will remain visible, though minor scratches and contact marks may be present. A few small surface marks or hairlines are normal for coins that have seen limited circulation. Now, when it comes to the value of a 1971 Canadian 25-cent coin in extra fine condition with a few scratches, the typical market value today ranges from about $350 to $750 USD, depending on eye appeal and overall preservation. Coins with minimal marks and strong detail might sell on the higher end of that range, while pieces with noticeable scratches will usually fall closer to the lower end. If the coin has unique toning or a pleasing appearance, some collectors may pay a small premium. Higher-grade examples, such as uncirculated or mint-state coins, can be worth several dollars. Proof-like strikes from the 1971 mint sets, especially those with mirror-like surfaces, can bring between $5 and $20 USD depending on quality. Rare error coins from this year, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on defective planchets, can sell for much higher values, sometimes even reaching $50 to $200 if certified by grading companies like PCGS, NGC, or ICCS. However, these errors are not common and must be authenticated. Before assuming high value, it's also worth mentioning that the 1971 quarter is a favorite among new Canadian coin collectors, because it's one of the earlier all-nickel issues and still relatively easy to find in circulation. For people who enjoy building a full-date set of Canadian quarters, this coin represents an important part of the post-silver era. When preserved in higher grades, it can fill a valuable spot in a collection. If you own a 1971 Canadian 25-cent coin with a few scratches but strong detail, it's a good idea to handle it carefully and store it in a protective holder to prevent further wear. Even though its base value may be modest, the long-term collector interest in Canadian quarters can gradually increase the desirability of well-preserved examples. Coins from this period in outstanding condition are becoming harder to find because most have been in circulation for more than 50 years. Next up, the 1941 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one of the more common and well-known coins from the early 1940s. yet it still carries an important place in American numismatic history. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the majority of 1941 Lincoln cents, over 887 million pieces in total. Because of this large mintage, many 1941 pennies have survived, though their individual value depends heavily on condition, color, and originality. Like all wheat pennies, the 1941 cent features Victor David Brenner's famous design. On the obverse, you see the right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" across the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date, 1941, to the right. Since this coin was struck in Philadelphia, there is no mint mark below the date. The reverse side displays two stylized wheat ears surrounding the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America, along with the Latin motto E pluribus unum at the top. This design was used from 1909 until 1958 and remains one of the most admired and collected designs in U.S. coinage. Your coin is described as being in dirty condition with some scratches, meaning it has seen extensive circulation and has picked up dirt, discoloration, and wear from decades of handling. In this type of condition, the high points of Lincoln's face, hair, and coat are worn smooth, and many of the fine details on the wheat stalks on the reverse are faded. The color might range from a dark brown to almost black tone, and small surface marks or scratches are common. Even though it's worn and shows its age, this coin is a genuine piece of American history, now more than 80 years old. When evaluating the value of a 1941 Lincoln wheat penny in dirty or heavily circulated condition, collectors consider both the overall wear and how well the date and lettering remain visible. Most 1941 pennies in this kind of circulated condition have very little numismatic value because of the enormous number still available today. In good-to-fine condition, similar to your description, this coin usually sells for around 0.05 to 0.15 USD in the retail market. Some coin shops may offer just a few cents if selling in bulk, while collectors might pay slightly more for an attractive example with natural color and minimal corrosion. If your coin were cleaner, with visible detail and less discoloration, its value could rise slightly to $250 to $350. Especially if it retains some original red-brown luster. In uncirculated condition, where the coin has never been used, prices rise much higher, typically between $300 and $700. High-grade mint state red examples, certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC, can even reach $200 to $300. And the rarest top-graded examples have sold for over $100 at auction. Still, even a well-worn 1941 penny is significant because it represents the final years before America entered World War II. The coin circulated during a critical time in history when the United States was emerging from the Great Depression and preparing for global conflict. Each one of these coins might have passed through the hands of Americans buying war bonds, food rations, or small household goods during those uncertain years. That historical connection is a big part of why people collect wheat pennies, even the common ones. Because your 1941 penny is in dirty condition, it's best not to clean it, even if it appears dull or stained. Cleaning a coin can permanently damage its surface and drastically reduce its collector value. Instead, store it in a dry, cool environment inside a plastic coin flip or holder to prevent further oxidation. Keeping it as is preserves its authenticity and historical character. Next up, the 2009 Canadian quarter continues the long tradition of the caribou design, a national symbol that has appeared on the 25-cent denomination since 1937. On the reverse of the coin, you'll see the caribou with its large antlers facing left, surrounded by the words Canada above and 25 cents to the left. The year 2009 appears just below the antlers. This timeless design was originally created by sculptor Emmanuel Hahn and has become one of the most recognizable Canadian coin designs ever produced. The obverse of the coin features the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by artist Susanna Blunt. This version shows the Queen facing right without a crown, a more modern and dignified portrayal that has been used on Canadian coins since 2003. Around the portrait are the words, Elizabeth II DG Regina. The 2009 Canadian quarter was minted by the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. It is composed of a multi-ply nickel-plated steel alloy, which gives it a bright silvery appearance and strong durability. The coin weighs about 4.4 grams and measures 23.88 millimeters in diameter. Because the Royal Canadian Mint was already using advanced minting technology by 2009, many coins from that year show excellent detail and sharp strikes, especially those kept in mint or uncirculated condition. The 2009 Canadian Waitotitunen 9-quarter is a very common coin in circulation, as millions were produced for everyday use. However, uncirculated examples, coins that have never been used in commerce and still retain their original mint luster, are more desirable to collectors. When we say uncirculated with some scratches, it usually means the coin has full original detail and shine but has picked up light marks or surface abrasions from handling, mint packaging, or storage. These minor imperfections slightly reduce the grade, but do not erase its appeal to hobbyists. In today's market, a standard 2009 Canada 25-cent coin in uncirculated condition with some light scratches generally sells for around $100 to $200 USD. Perfect. Flawless mint state examples with strong luster can reach between $300 and $500 USD, while coins from official mint sets or those in proof-like quality can bring between $600 and $1,000 USD, depending on eye appeal. Collectors who focus on building complete date sets or modern Canadian coin collections often pay small premiums for coins that have not seen circulation and still show full brilliance. There are also special varieties of the 2009 quarter that are worth looking for. In 2009, the Royal Canadian Mint issued several commemorative designs alongside the regular Caribou quarter. These included pieces celebrating the Vancouver 2010 Winter Olympics with the logo or the Olympic mascot designs. Some of these special issues were released in collector sets and not for circulation, and they can have higher market values, ranging from $5 up to $20 USD, depending on condition and demand. If your coin has a unique image or Olympic emblem, it's worth checking carefully to identify the exact type, as these are popular among collectors of modern Canadian commemorative coins. Another factor that can influence value is toning or color. Some 2009 quarters show light golden or rainbow toning due to exposure to air or moisture. While this doesn't usually increase the base value significantly, coins with attractive and even natural toning can appeal to certain collectors and bring slightly higher prices. If you have a 2009 Canadian 25-cent coin in uncirculated condition, even with a few small scratches, it's a good idea to handle it carefully and store it in a coin flip or capsule to prevent further damage. Avoid cleaning or polishing it, as this can permanently reduce its collector value. Keeping your coin in its original mint state condition is always better than trying to make it shine artificially. Next up, the 1958 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny, with D mint mark, is one of the final issues of the beloved Wheat Cent series, marking the end of an era that began nearly half a century earlier in 1909. The D mint mark, located just below the date, signifies that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced an enormous number of pennies that year, over 800 million in total. Because of that high mintage, the 1958 D penny is one of the more common dates in the entire wheat penny collection, yet it remains a nostalgic favorite for collectors since it represents the last year of the iconic wheat design before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. This Coin features the classic design by Victor David Brenner, which has become one of the longest-running coin portraits in U.S. history. On the obverse is the detailed profile of President Abraham Lincoln, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," at the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1958 with the D mint mark just below. The reverse displays two wheat ears curving along the sides of the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin motto E pluribus unum at the top. These wheat stalks symbolize strength and prosperity. Fitting themes for a coin that circulated widely through the prosperous post-war years of America's 1950s. Economy. Your coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches, meaning it has seen moderate circulation but still retains decent overall detail. In this grade, most of Lincoln's facial features are visible but worn smooth in areas like the cheekbone and jawline. The lettering and date remain clear and sharp, and the wheat ears on the reverse still show some inner lines, though not complete. The color is likely a medium to dark brown tone, typical of copper coins from this period, and the scratches indicate ordinary wear from long-term handling rather than serious damage. Even with this wear, the coin remains an appealing collectible, especially for anyone assembling a full wheat penny set. Because so many 1958 D pennies were made, they are considered common coins, especially in circulated grades like fine condition. In today's coin market, the typical retail value of a 1958 D Lincoln wheat penny in fine condition is around 0.5 to 0.010 USD. Coins with smoother surfaces and fewer marks may sell for closer to 0.15 to 0.25, especially if they retain some reddish color or attractive luster. If your coin has deeper scratches, dull tone, or signs of cleaning, the value might be closer to face value, still 1 cent, though collectors usually keep such pieces for sentimental or educational reasons. In higher grades, however, the 1958 D penny can bring much more. Uncirculated examples, especially those with full red color, are plentiful but desirable, typically valued between $1 and $5 depending on luster and strike quality. Certified Mint State Red, MS65, coins graded by NGC or PCGS can sell for $10 to $20, while the very finest examples graded MS67 or higher have been known to reach $100 or more at auction. This shows that while common, even a late-date wheat penny can become valuable when preserved in top condition. The 1958 D wheat penny also holds a special place in coin history as the final issue of the wheat reverse before the United States Mint transitioned to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. Many collectors view this coin as a symbolic farewell to the design that had honored Lincoln for half a century. Its widespread mintage also means millions of Americans remember it from childhood, making it both historically and emotionally significant. Because your coin has some scratches, it's best not to clean it or attempt to polish it, even lightly. Cleaning can remove the natural patina that collectors value and reduce its worth dramatically. Instead, store it safely in a coin holder, flip, or capsule to protect it from further wear and oxidation. Even though its market value might only be a few cents, its history and symbolism make it an important part of the Lincoln cent legacy. Next up, the 1981 Canadian quarter features the famous caribou design on its reverse, a proud symbol of Canada's natural wilderness and heritage. The image of the caribou, with its tall antlers facing left, was designed by sculptor Emmanuel Hahn and has been used on Canadian quarters since 1937. Above the animal, you'll find the word Canada. To the left is the denomination 25 cents, and below the antlers is the date 1981. This timeless design represents one of the longest-running and most recognized coin motifs in Canadian history. The obverse of the coin features the elegant portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machen. In this design, the queen faces right and wears a tiara, with the Latin inscription Elizabeth II DG Regina around the outer edge. This portrait was used on Canadian coins from 1965 through 1989 and reflects a young and regal image of the queen during her early reign. The coin has a bright nickel appearance and a classic Canadian style that collectors continue to admire. The 1981 Canada 25-cent coin was produced by the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. It is made of pure nickel, weighs 5.07 grams, and has a diameter of 23.88 millimeters. Unlike earlier quarters made of silver before 1968, the 1981 issue is a non-silver composition coin, which means its base metal value is low, but its numismatic or collector value depends entirely on condition and demand. In terms of mintage, there were over 140 million of these coins struck in 1981, which means they are quite common in circulation. Because of this large quantity, most examples found in everyday change are in well-used condition and have little or no extra value above face. However, collectors often look for coins in higher grades, fine, very fine, extra fine, or uncirculated, to fill gaps in their date sets. The coin you have, being in fine condition with some scratches, falls into the middle range. Fine means there is moderate wear across the coin's surface. Most major details of the design remain visible, but the finer lines, such as the queen's hair details or the caribou's fur, are partially smoothed out. The scratches you mentioned will slightly lower the coin's eye appeal and reduce its value a bit. In today's coin market, a 1981 Canadian 25-cent coin in fine condition with some scratches is generally valued between $0.30 and $0.60 USD. While this is not a high amount, it is still a bit above its face value, especially when sold in bulk to collectors looking for circulated date runs. Coins in very fine or extra fine condition can reach around $1, and fully uncirculated examples, with bright luster, may sell for 3 to 5 proof-like, or mint set versions from 1981, which were sold only to collectors in special. Packaging can fetch between $5 and $10, depending on their shine and preservation. Even though the regular 1981 issue is common, there are some special varieties worth watching for. Occasionally, coins from this era show small minting errors such as die cracks, misaligned strikes, or doubling on the lettering or date. These types of errors can add interesting character and sometimes boost a coin's value to several dollars or more, depending on the visibility of the flaw. If you suspect your coin might have an unusual strike or appearance, it's a good idea to examine it under good lighting or magnification and compare it with reference images from coin catalogs or collector forums. It's also worth noting that coins from the early 1980s are now over 40 years old and finding clean, well-preserved examples from circulation is becoming less common each year. As more collectors begin to focus on modern Canadian coinage, demand for attractive examples of these older nickel coins may gradually increase. That's why even a coin that seems ordinary today could hold greater interest in the future, especially if it's part of a complete collection. Next up, the 1954 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark is a classic mid-20th century coin that carries both historical and collectible value. The absence of a mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced over 71 million of these coins that year. While this makes the 1954 issue relatively common in circulation, its vintage design, age, and place in the long-running Wheat Penny series make it a coin many collectors enjoy adding to their collections today. Like all Wheat Pennies minted from 1909 to 1958, this coin was designed by Victor David Brenner to honor President Abraham Lincoln, marking the first time a real person appeared on regular U.S. coinage. The obverse, front, features Lincoln's right-facing portrait with "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1954 on the right. Because this coin was minted in Philadelphia, there is no mint mark below the date. The reverse, back, displays the familiar two wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto E pluribus unum across the top. The wheat design symbolizes prosperity and hard work, themes that resonated deeply in post-war America. Your coin is described as being in very fine condition with some scratches, meaning it shows light to moderate wear, but still retains solid overall detail. In this grade, Lincoln's facial features, such as the cheekbone, jawline, and hair, remain visible, though the highest points may be slightly worn smooth. The lettering and date are sharp, and on the reverse, the wheat stalks are still clearly outlined, with many of the inner lines visible. The surface likely shows a natural brown color tone, typical of circulated copper coins, with small marks or scratches that come from normal handling over time. A 1954 Lincoln cent in this type of condition is common, but its value depends on overall eye appeal and originality. In today's coin market, 2025, a 1954 Lincoln wheat penny from Philadelphia, in very fine condition, generally sells for around 0.10 to 0.25 USD. Examples with smoother surfaces and fewer scratches might reach 30 to 0.40, while coins that are dull, dirty, or have deeper marks might be worth closer to 0.05 to 0.10. In higher grades, however, this coin can be worth more. Extremely fine examples, with stronger detail and minimal wear, often sell for around $0.50 to $0.75, while uncirculated pieces with full red color are worth $1 to $3, depending on quality. Professionally graded Mint State Red, MS65, coins certified by PCGS or NGC can fetch between $10 and $20. And the very finest examples in MS67 red condition have sold for over $100 at auction. This shows how important preservation and surface condition are when it comes to determining a coin's value. The 1954 wheat penny holds a special place in the timeline of American coinage. It was minted during the post-World War II era, a time of rapid economic growth and optimism in the United States. Many of these pennies circulated heavily during the 1950s, used for everything from candy and newspapers to bus fares and phone calls. Each one carries the marks of everyday American life in that period, a small yet tangible reminder of mid-century history. Since your coin has some scratches, it's best not to clean or polish it. Cleaning might seem like a way to make the coin look newer, but it actually removes the original surface layer and can drastically reduce its value. Instead, it's better to store the coin properly in a soft holder or 2x2 cardboard flip to prevent further wear or oxidation. Keeping it in a cool, dry place will help preserve its natural brown patina and protect it from environmental damage. In summary, your 1954 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, in very fine condition with some scratches, has a current market value of around $0.10 to $0.25 USD. Although not rare or highly valuable, it remains a charming piece of numismatic history. It connects you directly to the final decade of the wheat penny series and stands as a symbol of American craftsmanship and tradition. Every 1954 wheat penny tells a small story of the people who used it, the economy it fueled, and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln on America's smallest coin. First up, in today's video, we are going to talk about one of the most interesting coins from North America, the 1974 25-cent coin, both from the United States and from Canada. These coins may look very ordinary, but many collectors are surprised to learn that some examples can actually carry premium value depending on their condition, mint mark, and minting variety. So, let's explore their background, features, and what they are worth in today's market when found in very fine condition. The United States, 1974 Washington quarter. is part of the long-running Washington series that started in 1932. The obverse of the coin shows the bust of George Washington facing left with the word Liberty above and the motto, "In God We Trust," to the left of his neck. The date 1974 appears below the portrait. The reverse design, created by John Flanagan, displays an American eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches, and the inscription, "United States of America," and "E pluribus unum" on top, with $quarter at the bottom. These coins were struck in copper nickel-clad composition, not silver, and were made at 3 mints: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with the D mint mark, and San Francisco for proof coins marked with an S in terms of mintages. These coins were produced in large numbers. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 801 million pieces, while the Denver Mint produced around 353 million. Because of this, most 1974 quarters are considered common in circulated grades. In very fine condition, where most of the main design is clear but shows light wear, the coin typically trades for around 30 to 50 cents on the collector market. However, some varieties and mint errors can raise that value dramatically. Rare double-die errors, off-center strikes, or quarters struck on the wrong planche can sell for much higher prices, depending on the severity of the error and the overall condition. There have also been reports of 1974 D quarters struck on 40% silver planches left over from earlier coinage. Those pieces are extremely rare and can be worth hundreds to even thousands of dollars if verified by a grading service. Now let's move to the Canadian 1974 25-cent coin. The coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, designed by Arnold Machine, showing the Queen facing right and wearing a tiara. Around her image are the words, "Elizabeth II DG Regina." The reverse design shows the majestic caribou, a national symbol of Canada, with the denomination 25 cents and the word Canada above, and the year 1974 below the antlers. The coin is made of nickel and measures 23.88 millimeters in diameter. The Royal Canadian Mint produced millions of these coins as well, which means they are common in circulated grades. In very fine condition, the 1974 Canadian 25-cent coin usually sells for around 35 to 60 cents, depending on the current demand and appearance. However, high-grade mint state coins, proof-like issues, or those with special toning can be worth significantly more. Collectors are always looking for coins with sharp details in the Queen's hair and the caribou's antlers, and coins free of major scratches or contact marks can easily bring in higher prices. Error examples, such as misaligned dies, partial collars, or planche flaws, are also sought after and can sell for several dollars to even hundreds for dramatic errors. In the current auction and collector market, most ordinary 1974 USA and Canada 25-cent coins in very fine condition will not make anyone rich, but they do have value as part of complete date and mint collections. The true excitement comes when a collector finds an unusual strike or an exceptionally well-preserved example. For the United States quarter, certified mint state coins graded MS-65 or higher can sell between $10 and $25, and the rare proof deep cameo coins from San Francisco can reach up to $50 or more, depending on appearance. For the Canadian coin, brilliant uncirculated examples or proof-like sets can fetch prices of $5 to $20 or more when certified by professional grading services such as ICCS or PCGS. Next up, the 1935 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny, without a mint mark, is a beautiful piece of American coinage history, representing the era between the Great Depression and the approach of World War II. The absence of a mint mark tells us that this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced more than 245 million wheat pennies that year. Though it is not considered a rare coin, its age, design, and connection to a turbulent historical period make it an appealing collectible for coin enthusiasts today. Like all wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958, this coin features the timeless design created by Victor David Brenner. The obverse, front, shows a right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," above his head, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1935 to the right. Because this particular penny was made in Philadelphia, there is no mint mark below the date. The reverse, back, displays the denomination 1 cent and United States of America, framed by two curved wheat stalks, with the motto E pluribus unum across the top. The wheat design symbolizes agricultural prosperity and remains one of the most recognizable and beloved U.S. coin motifs. Your coin is described as being in fine condition, with some scratches. In this grade, the coin shows moderate circulation wear from years of handling, but the main details are still clear. On the obverse, Lincoln's cheekbone, jawline, and hair may appear slightly smooth, but his facial features remain visible. The lettering, date, and motto are all sharp and easy to read. On the reverse, both wheat ears are outlined, although much of the inner detail is faint or missing due to wear. The color of the coin is likely a medium to dark brown tone, typical for copper coins of this age. The scratches mentioned are normal for a circulated coin that's been in use for decades. They show honest wear rather than damage, because the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny was produced in such large quantities, it is considered common in most circulated grades. However, its value depends on its overall eye appeal, color, and preservation. In today's coin market, 2025, a 1935 wheat penny from Philadelphia, in fine condition with some scratches, generally sells for about 0.10 to 0.20 fees USD coins with better detail or smoother. Surfaces might reach closer to 0.30, while those with heavy discoloration, corrosion, or deep marks might be worth closer to 0.05 to $0. Tenderers in higher grades, the value increases noticeably. A very fine example can bring around 0.1235, why feeder thin 5 to 50, while extremely fine coins are often worth 0.75 to $1. Uncirculated examples with strong luster and original red color can be worth $5 to $10, and certified mint state red MS65 coins can sell for $25 to $40 or more, depending on the strength of the strike and the coin's eye appeal. The most pristine pieces, graded MS67 red, have sold for well over $100, showing how condition can transform a common date coin into a highly valuable collectible. The 1935 wheat penny also carries historical significance. It was struck during the Great Depression, a time when the U.S. economy was recovering slowly under President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs. These pennies circulated heavily, often changing hands among working families, small merchants, and farmers during one of America's most challenging economic decades. Holding a 1935 wheat penny today is like holding a small piece of that era, a copper witness to the resilience and determination of the American people. Because your coin is in fine condition and has some scratches, it's important to store it carefully to prevent further wear. The best way to do this is to keep it in a coin holder, 202 flip, or small capsule, and to avoid cleaning it. Cleaning may make the coin look shiny temporarily, but it actually damages the natural surface and greatly reduces its collector value. Collectors prefer coins with their original natural toning and patina intact. In conclusion, your 1935 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, in fine condition with some scratches, has a current market value of about 0.210 to 0.25 USD. While it isn't rare or highly valuable, it's a meaningful collectible that tells the story of America's past a genuine copper coin that has survived 90 years since the Great Depression. Every mark and scratch on it reflects a journey through time, making it a small but enduring piece of history worth keeping and appreciating. Next up, in today's video, we're going to talk about the 1982 Canadian 25-cent coin. A coin that may appear quite ordinary at first glance, but it still holds a special place in Canadian numismatic history. Even though it's not a rare coin, collectors appreciate it for its detailed artwork, strong design, and role in Canada's transition into the modern minting era. Let's take a detailed look at this 1982 Canada 25-cent coin, its history, features, and the current market value when found in very fine condition with some scratches. The 1982 Canadian quarter features the familiar and beloved caribou design on the reverse. This design, created by sculptor Emmanuel Hahn, has been in use since 1937 and remains a timeless symbol of Canada's wildlife and northern heritage. On the reverse, the majestic caribou faces left, with tall antlers stretching upward. Above it is the word Canada, and to the left you'll see the denomination 25 cents. The date, 1982, appears just below the antlers. This design has been part of every regular Canadian quarter for decades, making it instantly recognizable to coin enthusiasts across the country. On the obverse of the 1982 coin, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by artist Arnold Machen. The Queen is shown facing right and wearing a tiara, with the Latin inscription Elizabeth II, Digi Regina, around the edge, which stands for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God. Queen! This portrait was used on all Canadian coins from 1965 through 1989, symbolizing a young and graceful image of the Queen during her early reign. The coin's design, with its balance of tradition and elegance, continues to appeal to both new and seasoned collectors. The 1982 Canadian 25-cent coin was minted by the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. Like other quarters from this era, it is made of pure nickel, weighs approximately 5.07 grams, and measures 23.88 millimeters in diameter. The switch to nickel coinage took place after 1968, when Canada stopped producing circulating silver coins, making these nickel issues more durable for everyday use. Because of the metal's hardness, the designs on nickel coins tend to stay clear for longer periods, even with moderate circulation. The Royal Canadian Mint produced hundreds of millions of 25-cent coins in 1982, so this issue is considered common in circulation. However, the condition of the coin determines its collector value. A coin in very fine VF condition shows moderate wear on the highest points, but most major details, such as the Queen's hair, the caribou's antlers, and the lettering, remain clear and sharp. There may be light scratches or minor contact marks, especially on the open fields of the coin, which is common for pieces that have been handled but not heavily worn. In today's collector market, a 1982 Canadian 25-cent coin in very fine condition with some scratches is generally valued between 0.834 foreign, Amadri headers, how 430 rare, and 0.15 for USD. The value can vary slightly depending on the overall appearance and brightness of the coin. Coins that retain more luster and have fewer marks tend to sell for closer to the higher end of that range, while those with more noticeable scratches usually fall near the lower end. Higher-grade examples, those in extra fine or uncirculated condition, can be worth a bit more, typically around $1 to $3 USD. If the coin comes from an official mint set or has proof-like qualities with mirror-like surfaces, it could be worth between $5 and $10 USD, depending on eye appeal. Proof-like coins are easy to identify because they have sharp detail and reflective fields that give them a brilliant shine. There are also occasional minting errors and varieties from this period that can increase a coin's value significantly. Some collectors have reported minor die cracks, off-center strikes, or slight doubling in the lettering or date on 1982 quarters. These mint errors are not common, but when they are visible and certified by a grading service like ICCS, PCGS, or NGC, they can sell for anywhere between $20 and $100 USD, depending on the type and clarity of the error. Although the 1982 Canadian 25-cent coin is not considered rare, it's a wonderful example of Canada's coinage during the early 1980s. Coins from this period are now over 40 years old, and finding them in very fine condition with strong details is becoming less common as most pieces have been heavily circulated. Many collectors enjoy completing date runs from this era, so coins like the 1982 quarter often fill an important spot in their sets. If you have this coin, even with a few scratches, it's worth keeping. Store it in a small coin holder or plastic flip to prevent further damage, and avoid cleaning it. Cleaning a coin, especially a nickel one, can leave fine scratches and reduce its collector appeal. The natural toning or slight patina that develops over time often gives the coin a more authentic and desirable look. In summary, the 1982 Canada 25-cent coin, in very fine condition with some scratches, is a common but collectible piece of Canadian history. Its current value in today's market ranges from about 35 cents up to 75 cents, depending on condition and appearance. Coins in higher grades or special mint finishes can reach a few dollars more. While it may not make you rich, it's a classic and attractive coin that represents Canada's strong minting tradition and enduring designs. So, next time you look through your change or old coin jar, keep an eye out for a 1982 quarter. You might just have a small but meaningful piece of Canadian numismatic heritage right in your hands.